Yo, what's good YouTube? This is Zangy, and today I got a new video for you guys. And today we're going to be talking about 3 alternatives to the classic themes for WordPress in 2024. All right, let's get to it. So number one, we're going to be talking about Sage, and Sage is basically just an advanced starter theme that supports Tailwind and Laravel Blade. So basically, it supports composers, template inheritance, and a lot of the Laravel features that you would find in your regular Laravel project. It's very modern, so it's very highly scalable and it saves a lot of time. But with all of that mentioned, let me also mention, when I mention the advantages, let me also mention the disadvantages. So again, like I said, the advantages are it streamlines the process, saves times in development, creates more manageable code, uses Blade and template inheritance, and also the best feature, to be honest, but this one requires to use Bedrock, and Bedrock is a completely different system compared to the regular WordPress directory. It changes, for example, the WP content into another folder that's called app, and then that gives the website a lot more security, so nobody can be able to access the WP content on your website. The problem with Sage is it's very complex and it's sometimes over engineered and sometimes it's harder to maintain. So if you're leaving a project for somebody else to work on after using Sage, it's gonna be not that simple to pick up from where the other developer started from. So that is the advantages and disadvantages of Sage. All right, let's go into block themes, right? So what is block themes? Basically, a block theme is basically just a theme that utilizes blocks, as you can mention over here, for all the parts of the website. So you're using like React, for example, blocks, including like menus, template parts, and basically a block theme you can edit and copy blocks using the template editor or the site editor. The advantages of basically the block theme, so from the name, it's just blocks, so it saves a lot of time. It also supports React Gutenberg. It's modern. Pattern and template can save a lot of time, but they also have some issues. Also, it allows you to use a lot of less plugins, right? And also as well, it's more future proof because of the Gutenberg editor that WordPress is adopting right now more than the classic editor, which has been basically not maintained for a long time. And a couple of examples that you could use is Spectra 1. So this is just an example. The only disadvantages that you could find in the block theme are basically in terms of the block patterns and reusable blocks. Just to explain what the disadvantages in this exact point, just to be clear about it, a block pattern only affects the current instance. So if I'm using a block pattern, basically if I edit it, it's not going to be updated on the whole website if I'm using a block pattern. However, if I'm reusing reusable blocks, basically these are patterns that can be saved and reused across the website. And whatever you update that reusable block with is going to be updated throughout the whole website. Basically the vice versa of just a regular pattern, which just modifies the instance that you're working on. One last disadvantage basically in the block themes is that plugin compatibility has been reported a couple of times that they are a little bit funky, because basically, of course, if you're using like some widgets or some elements that are not supported by the Gutenberg theme or the Gutenberg blocks, just to be clear, there will be some complications or some things not working properly because you're mixing and matching two different structures of the project themselves. One last thing, which is probably the best option, to be honest, but it's the most costly one as well, is React CMS, or React, basically using HeadLess CMS with WordPress. Right? You don't have to use React. You can use React, Angular, Vue, or whatever front-end technology you would like. So basically what this does is it utilizes the API of the WordPress like panel and everything. So if you add in content to your WordPress panel, it will show up on the front end of the website that you created, and at the same time it's a lot more secure and it's a lot more scalable, and It also allows for synchronization of content alongside a lot of platforms, because you're just using the WordPress itself as a backend. You're not using it to handle the front end, which is also going to give you a lot more better performance, because your back end is handled somewhere and your front end is handled somewhere. They're not on the same exact domain. All right, they can be on the same server or different servers, but they're not on the same domain. That is headless CMS. Decoupled CMS is a little bit different, but again, if you want to check more about that, you can check out this article. And that is pretty much it. These are the three alternatives for the classic themes for WordPress in 2024. Let me know if I missed out anything, and just mention that out in the comments. I'll make a video on that. I'll see you guys in the next video. This was Angry Ryu, and peace, you guys.